Tutorial 8 left you with a question. You'd seen LangGraph in Phase 1. Controlled, predictable, every line of routing logic written by you. You'd seen Claude Code in Tutorial 8. Autonomous. The LLM owns the routing, but locked to a software engineering toolkit. The question, which one do you reach for, and when? In this tutorial, we answer that. We take your gold domain tools from Phase 1, the same get_gold_price, convert_currency, calculate_portfolio you wrote in tutorials 3, 5, and 6, and we plug them into Claude Code. Then we run the exact T5 queries through Claude Code with those tools, and we compare against what T5 produced for the same queries. Same questions, two architectures, real numbers. By the end, you'll have a decision framework for picking the right architecture for any future problem. This is Tutorial 9. Let's go. Quick recap. Phase 1 taught you developer-controlled orchestration. You build the graph. Tutorial 8 introduced LLM as agent. The graph is hidden inside an autonomous tool, and the LLM owns the routing. We promised one thing at the end of T8. The pattern is domain-pluggable. Same orchestration, swap the toolkit, get an agent for any domain. This tutorial proves it. We'll plug your gold tools into Claude Code, run the T5 queries, and compare. 3 things. 1. A brief on MCP, the protocol for plugging custom tools into autonomous agents. 2. Wrap your Phase 1 gold tools as an MCP server using fast MCP. 3. Register with Claude Code, run the 3T5 queries, and compare. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. In one sentence, it's the standard way to plug custom tools into an autonomous agent. Here's the model. An MCP server is a separate process that publishes a list of tools, names, descriptions, parameter schemas. An MCP client, Claude Code in our case, connects to the server, reads the tool list, and lets the LLM call any of those tools during a session. To the LLM, MCP-provided tools look identical to built-in ones. That's it. The protocol does more. Resources, prompts, multiple transports, but for plugging in your domain, that's the whole story. We're keeping MCP minimal in this tutorial. The protocol gets used much more deeply in Phase 3, where one agent's tool is itself another whole agent. That's the orchestrator pattern. For Tutorial 9, we use MCP just for tools, single functions exposed to a single agent. Everything you learn here transfers directly to T10 and T11. We'll use a Python library called fastMCP. It turns any function with an @mcp.tool decorator into a working MCP server. 3 decorators on 3 functions, and we have a complete server. I'm in our existing project from Phase 1. Install fastMCP into the VN. Now I'll show you the server. The full file is on the GitHub repo and in the blog post, link in the description. Let me walk you through what's there. At the top, a single import. From fastMCP, import fastMCP. We create the server with one line. MCP equals fastMCP, open parenthesis, name equals, quote, gold-tools, quote, close parenthesis. Then 3 functions, each with the @mcp.tool decorator. Notice what's not here. We're not writing HTTP server code. We're not generating JSON schemas. We're not handling protocol negotiation. FastMCP introspects each function's signature and docstring and produces all of that for us. The function bodies themselves are identical to phase 1. Get_gold_price calls gold API. Convert_currency calls Frankfurter. Calculate_portfolio is a pure calculation. Same code you wrote 3 tutorials ago. The decorators are the only new thing. At the bottom, if__name___ equals quote__main__quote :mcp.run parens. That starts the server in stdio transport, the simplest mode, where the client launches the server as a subprocess and talks over stended out and stended out. No networking, no ports, no cloud. Phase 1 callback worth noting. The functions are unchanged. The decorator framework changed. That means MCP isn't a different way to write tools, it's a different way to expose tools. Your existing code made consumable by autonomous agents. Now we register the server with Claude Code. One command. The double dash separates Claude Code's own arguments from the command Claude Code uses to launch the server. After the double dash, the absolute path to my venems Python, then the path to the script. I'm using the venems Python explicitly because the server depends on FastMCP and requests, which are installed in the venev, not in the system Python. If Claude Code launches the server with the wrong interpreter, the server fails on import. Gold tools should appear, marked as connected. If it shows failed, run Claude MCP get gold tools to see the error. The server reads gold API_key from its environment. Claude Code inherits the environment of the shell that launches it, so we set the key here, in this shell, before starting Claude Code. Once we're in, type /mcp to confirm the tools are visible. You should see gold tools connected with 3 tools: get_gold_price, convert_currency, calculate_portfolio. From the LLM's point of view, these are now available alongside read, edit, bash, and the rest. We're done with setup. We're going to run the exact 3 queries from tutorial 5. If you watched T5, you'll remember these. If you haven't, the link's in the description. Q1 is data only. What was the gold price yesterday? Q2 is data plus analysis. What's the current price, and what does it tell us about the market? Q3 is analysis only, using memory from Q1 and Q2. Based on what we've discussed, is gold a good investment? We're running them on Claude Code now. We won't rerun T5. You've seen T5 in its own tutorial. We'll reference T5's behavior from there. Question 1. What was the gold price yesterday? First time using each tool, Claude Code asks for approval. I'll allow it for the project. Now it calls the tool, you can see the call expanding, and answers concisely. In T5, this same query routed to the research agent, called the gold tool, and returned a longer raw data block. Same data, different shape. That's normal. Both are correct. Question 2. What is the current gold price, and what does it tell us about the market? Watch what just happened. Claude Code did not call the tool again. It looked at the conversation, saw the gold price was already fetched 30 seconds ago, and decided not to refetch. It went straight to the analysis. This is the moment that matters. T5 on this same query would have refetched the price. Its system prompt says, and I quote, "Always use your get_gold_price tool to fetch live data." Combined with the graph topology, that always forces a refetch on every research-routed query. So T5's Q2 makes 3 LLM calls: researcher to emit tool_use, researcher again with the tool result, then analyst, and 1 tool call. Claude Code's Q2 made one LLM call and 0 tool calls. Same query, different architecture. 1 LLM call versus 3. 0 tool calls versus 1. That's the trade-off, made concrete. T5 always refetches because you committed it to. Claude Code judges each situation and decides. Pre-commitment versus runtime judgment. Question 3. Based on what we've discussed, is gold a good investment? No tool used. Both architectures route this correctly to analysis only. There's no fresh data needed. But notice the shape of the answer. Quick pause. If this is useful, hit subscribe. Tutorial 10 starts Phase 3. We build an orchestrator that picks between controlled and autonomous depending on the query. That's where the framework we're about to draw becomes the core skill. Code led with, "I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't investment advice." Voluntarily. Nothing in the system prompt told it to. T5's analyst on the same query gives a confident recommendation framework, portfolio percentages, breakout levels, allocation guidance. No disclaimer. That's because T5's system prompt explicitly tells the analyst to think like a financial analyst writing a morning briefing, and the node appends a hard-coded "provide your market analysis" nudge to every invocation. Output shape, engineered at design time. Claude Code applied general reasoning, including liability awareness, and shaped its own output. Different architecture, different output character. Neither is better in the abstract. They're appropriate for different products. 5 axes. The order matters. 1. Predictability. Pre-committed behavior versus judged behavior. T5 refetches because we wrote always. Claude Code judges. Pre-commitments are the essence of control. 2. Cost. For Q2, autonomous cost 1 LLM call. Controlled cost 3. Across many queries, that ratio is real money, but it's variable in the autonomous direction. A different conversation history might trigger 0, 1, or 2 refetches. 3. Auditability. T5's behavior is fully explained by reading code. Claude Code's behavior is explained by the model decided. You can read the transcript. You can't read the weights. 4. Flexibility. T5 handles the queries it was designed for. Claude Code handles novel queries the same way it handles familiar ones. 5. Output shape. Engineered versus emergent. T5's analyst voice was designed by you, with system prompts and nudges. Claude Code's voice is whatever the model produces, including caveats you didn't ask for. Each architecture's strength is the other's weakness. There is no better. There is better fit for the problem. 3 questions in priority order. 1. Is the workflow knowable in advance? If you can write down the steps now before any input, build it controlled. If the steps depend on what you discover during the task, build it autonomous. 2. Does cost predictability matter? If your application has a per-query budget, controlled wins. If cost variance is acceptable, autonomous is fine. 3. What's the audit requirement? If you need to explain why the system did what it did, controlled wins. If good answer is enough explanation, autonomous is fine. 3 quick examples. Daily gold price newsletter for paying subscribers. Workflow knowable, cost predictable, sum audit. Controlled. Build it as LangGraph, run it on a schedule. Investigation. Why does my dashboard show 0 today? Workflow not knowable, cost doesn't matter, low audit. Autonomous. Hand it to Claude Code with your gold tools. A general gold domain assistant for your customers. Workflow partially knowable, cost predictable, high audit, output shape matters. This is where Phase 3 starts. Route predictable queries to a controlled pipeline. Route open-ended ones to an autonomous agent. An orchestrator decides which. That's exactly what we build in Tutorial 10. Quick housekeeping before we close. The MCP server we registered persists across sessions. Every time you launch Claude Code from this directory, the server gets started as a subprocess. If you want to remove it later, say you've moved on or you're rebuilding from scratch, one command. We're keeping ours installed because we'll use it in tutorial 10, but now you know how to clean up. Tutorial 10 is where phase 3 starts. We build an orchestrator agent whose tools are themselves whole agents, a controlled pipeline for predictable gold queries, an autonomous one for open-ended ones. Same MCP protocol you use today, used one level up. If you got value from this, subscribe so you don't miss it. AI for your work. Build more, hire less. See you in the next one.